Check.
Hey, what's going on everybody? I hope you're having a great day. In this video, we are going to follow up on the last video where we created a database in PHPMyAdmin on our XAMPP local development server. And that was for Windows. So I'll go ahead and throw up a card right now, that way so you can get to that link if you haven't watched that video, and I'll also put it in the description below. So in this video, we are going to actually use PHP classes, which is the object-oriented part of this, and then we're going to use PDO, PHP document object, to connect to this database and then just receive that the connection was successful. So there'll be a couple things if you're using XAMPP that, or any PHP on a development server, that you'll want to make sure is enabled first, and then we'll go into actually writing up the file. So what we want to do first is we are going to, first I want to show you, if you're using XAMPP, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna do this with PDO. So you want to go to your XAMPP folder, and then your PHP folder, because there's a php.ini file where you want to uncomment the line that has the extension for the PDO MySQL. So I'm going to show you how to get there first. So what you want to do is, for me, it is c:/xampp/php. So I'm going to do a Windows R.
Run dialog. Type the name of a
And it's c:/xampp/php.
folder view list. PHP.
Alright, so in here, again, we're looking for the php.ini file. So I'm going to type php.ini. It should take me
php.ini.
right to it. It announces it php.ini. So we're going to, you can either do a Shift F10. I'm going to do an applications key.
Context menu.
And I'm going to press I, and that's going to open this up in Visual Studio Code. Let's give it a minute.
PHP.
Sometimes it doesn't focus. Let's Alt Tab.
PHP line PDO. OBS. Videos. php.ini-Visual Studio.
Alright, so here we go. We're focused now. Now, let me
Context
see.
menu. Close. Maximize X.
So we'll maximize this window. Now, the first thing I want to do is do a Control F to find, and what we want to find is PDO underscore MySQL.
Extension equals the line M.
Alright.
Extension equals the line M.
So if you press escape, that'll take you out of the search and it'll focus you on what it found. Now, what mine found, I'll let you listen to the line.
Extension equals the line MySQL.
So it sounds funny because it's lowercase, but it's extension equals PDO underscore MySQL. Now, if I up arrow,
semi-extension equals the line Firebird.
You hear Firebird, so PDO Firebird is, I believe that's what
extension
it is.
The line PDO.
Yeah, PDO Firebird has a semicolon at the beginning of the line, so that's how they comment a line out. So
extension
if your extension PDO underscore MySQL has a semicolon at the beginning of the line, you want to remove that. Press Control S, and then you'll want to restart your XAMPP server. So now that we've got that out of the way, we can Alt F4.
PHP window.
And I'm going to get out of this as well.
PHP line PDO line connect.
Now I'm back in my actual file where I'm going to create this connection. So in the video where we created the database, we called it test underscore YouTube, and it was all lowercase. So I'm going to just point that out now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make sure no file is selected.
Not selected, not checked.
And then I'm going to open up git bash
context menu
into this folder.
PHP line /usr/bin/bash.
Okay, so I did that by just making sure nothing was selected with Control Space, and then pressing my applications key and pressing S as in Sierra to open git bash. So right here I'm going to create a new file, so that's echo So ECHO greater sign,
Echo.
and then the file name. So we're going to name our file config.class.php.
K-Black at laptop -Q2DQ.
So now what we're going to do is from the command line, we can actually call on Visual Studio Code, and we are going to open up code in this directory. So we can type code space period, press enter.
Visual Studio Code.
Okay, here open up.
Blank. Application.
Okay, so if I read the title with my insert T,
welcome-php line P.
You hear welcome line _PHP.
welcome-php line PDO line connect dash.
Yep, so that's going to be the folder that I opened it up in. Now if we do Shift Control E as an echo,
complementary landmark.
This puts us inside the File Explorer, inside of Visual Studio Code, and we can down arrow or up arrow.
config.class.php.
So we hear our file config.class.php. I'm going to press enter on this.
Selected. Main landmark.
Okay.
Blank.
So
selected.
Whenever you create a file from the file or from the command line using echo, it will put a blank line in your document. You want to get that out of there.
Line feed.
So the first thing we're going to do is open up our PHP tags, and we are going to omit the closing PHP tags because it's not necessary. So the first thing we're going to do is create the class. Now what I'll do is I'll put all this code down below in the description, and as the code base gets bigger, I will in the future do a video for GitHub, and then I'll show you where you can actually clone these files straight down to your computer. So like I said, the first thing we want to do is create our PHP tags.
Blank. Less question.
And we did that
Blank.
there.
Blank.
And then now we're going to actually we're going to declare this class. So we do that with class,
suggest list.
CLASS, and we're going to call it config. And common practice is to use title case whenever you want to. So we're going to use the uppercase for this name declaration for this class. So config, capital CONFIG, and then we're going to press enter, left brace, so that's shift, left bracket, so that creates that left curly brace, and we're going to press enter. And what Visual Studio Code does is it will create our ending right brace, and then when I press enter, it just indented 4 spaces from the left. So now what we want to do is we want to declare a few variables. So these are going to be private properties is what we'll call them, because in a class you have your properties, which is just like a variable, and then you have your methods, which is just like a function. So we have private, that's what I'm typing now, private space, and then we type $host, and that's our variable name, equals, and we're actually, we don't need to assign a value, so we're just going to, I'll let you listen to the line.
Private $host semi.
So that's private space $host semi, and that's just declaring that name, because we're actually going to we're going to instantiate these with the constructor. So what we're going to do now
private $host line
is go to our next line, and again we're going to type private, and then this one's $username, and then we'll just end that with the semicolon as well. So, and again, that's no spaces at the end of that, just the variable. You put private space and then your variable name and then a semicolon. So we're going to read that line.
Private $username semi.
All right, we're going to go to the next line and do a private space $password semicolon, and then press enter, and then one more private
one of two.
Let me make sure I type it right. So private $db semi. Let me make sure.
Context close C. Maximize unavailable X.
All right, it's big screen. Okay.
File sub. No 4 space private $db.
All right, so we have four variables, our host name, our username, our password, and our DB. So I'll tell you what those are when we start typing them out.
No indent right. 4 space private $D.
So after private DB, we'll go down a couple spaces and we're going to declare our constructor. So function space underscore underscore construct, and then left parenthesis, right parenthesis, and then we'll press enter, left brace,
8 space,
enter, and then we'll review this.
4 space, function line construct left paren, right paren.
All right, so function space underscore underscore construct, CONSTRUCT, and then our parentheses, and then on the next line,
left brace,
we open up our braces,
8 space blank,
and then we have our indentation for our new line,
4 space right brace,
and then there's our right brace to end it.
8 space blank.
All right, so we go to the indentation of 8 spaces, and then go to the end of that line, and that's just to make sure. Usually it is, but you never know. And then what we're going to do in here is when you declare these, or when we want to set these properties, we're going to use the keyword this. So it's going to be $this, and that will assign the value that we give it when we instantiate this class. So here's what we're going to do. $, this, dash greater, and that's the way that we the notation that we use to get into a class, either method or property. So, and it refers to this class, and we're going to say host. So again, that's $this dash greater host, and I'll read it. Let me get out of this.
$this dash greater host,
and then equals, and it's localhost, which most of the time it is, and then we end that with a semi. Now that localhost is a string with no spaces, so we put that in quotes. I'll read the current line.
$this dash greater host equals quote localhost quote semi.
Okay, so we hear that. Now if we go to the end of this, press enter, and I'm going to do this same thing for username, password, and DB. And again, I will put all of this code in the description below. So $this dash greater, and it's username equals, and for me it's quote root quote semi, because it's a string.
$this dash greater username equals quote root quote semi.
Alright, so I'm press enter, $this dash greater, we're doing the password now, equals, and I'm going to say quote quote semi because I haven't set a password in my XAMPP. So for you, you'll probably put something there. Now if I go to the end of this line and go to the next one, we're going to say the DB name now. So $this dash greater DB equals quote, our DB name is test underscore YouTube, and then we'll do quote semi. All right, let's read that.
$this dash greater DB equals quote test line YouTube quote semi.
Okay, so now we've set
4 space right brace,
all of these variables.
no indent right brace.
So give me 1 second. I'm looking at my notes. So now that we've set all of these variables, we want to create the method that we will call on in this constructor to go ahead and return our connection. So
no indent right brace.
So this right brace with no indentation is actually the end of our class. We want to up arrow.
4 space right brace.
So 4 space right brace. This is the end of our constructor. So we want to
line feed.
Go to the end of this line, press enter twice. That's going to get us a couple lines down. Now we're going to declare a method. So to do that, and it's going to be protected. Now private means that you cannot access those. So anything that's private can only be accessed within the class it's in. Protected can be accessed within that class or children classes, so like extensions. And then we have public, where it can be accessed from anywhere. So what we're going to say is protected
config.class.
So protected space function,
On.
and then we'll call it connect with a capital C.
Suggest.
Connect left parenthesis,
CT.
right parenthesis, left brace,
8 space.
press enter. Now this puts us indented 8 spaces, so we're inside of our method. Now the first thing we want to do is create our PDO instance. So to do that, we're going to give it a variable name, which common practice is to call it con. So $CONN space equals space. So here we declare the PDO instance. So new space capital P, capital D, capital O, and then left parenthesis, right parenthesis, semicolon. So now we get in between these parentheses.
Right paren.
Now there's the first thing we're going to pass is a string, and we will declare the type of database that we're using as well as the host and the DB name for that, and we'll come out of that string and then we'll pass the username and the password. So what we're going to do first is go ahead and get our quotes in here, and then so quote comma space, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in the username and password first. So because that's easy, after we're in the parentheses, we do quote comma space. Now we can say $this dash greater not password, username.
P.
Let me get out of this.
P. Right paren. P.
Alright, so username, $this dash greater username, comma, space, $this dash greater password. Alright, so now that we have that in there, let's read the line.
$con equals new PDO left paren, quote comma, $this dash greater username comma, $this dash greater password right paren, semi.
Okay, so you hear that the only thing empty here is those quotes, so we're going to get back to those. I'm pressing home to get to the beginning of the line. Hold down control, and I'm going to press right arrow, and you'll hear
con equals.
So that's the first set.
New PDO left paren, this dash greater.
And I just press right arrow to get that. Now as soon as I hear this dash greater, I know I'm in between the parentheses, and I can left arrow.
Space, comma, quote.
And I left arrow back to those quotes. Now I'm in between those quotes. In those quotes, we want to type lowercase MySQL colon space. Right here we type host, HOST equals, and because we're in quotes, we can just type the PHP variable, because it will understand to translate it as soon as it sees that $sign. So we're going to say $this dash greater host semi, because in this string when we pass it, that's how we separate these two, and then space db, this is lowercase, name equals, and db name, no spaces, and then we pass $this dash greater and then db. Alright, so let's read this whole line.
$con equals new PDO left paren, quote MySQL colon, host equals $this dash greater host semi.
Alright, so now that we have set up our new PDO connection, we've instantiated that class. The next thing we need to do is catch errors.
Line feed.
Now, if the communication between the PDO of it trying to connect to the database, if something fails, either the database is not able to be connected to, or a password, or the DB name is wrong, we want to catch that inside of an exception. So PDO gives us an attribute that we can use. Now what you want to do is we're going to, now the connection to the database is actually the PDO connection. We have properties and methods we can call on that. So what we're going to say is $con dash greater, so lowercase set, so that's set, and then capital A, and you hear that I've got a PHP extension, which I haven't went over these yet in a video, but it's PHP IntelliSense, and it actually will give me directions. So right now it says set attribute. I can actually press enter, and then I'll read the current line.
$con dash greater set attribute left paren, right paren.
And you hear it actually puts the parentheses. It puts my focus in those parentheses.
Line feed.
So we're going to go ahead and go to the end of the line and put a semicolon to make sure we don't miss that. And then
right
I'm going to go between these parentheses. So I just left arrow twice. And now let me tell you, just so you make sure that I make sure that you know, set attribute, S-E-T, that's lowercase, capital A, and then you go back to lowercase T-T-R-I-B-U-T-E. Now, I just want to make sure you know that, because I know when I watched videos trying to learn this, at the time I didn't have a code editor that finished it for me, so hearing the entire thing out loud would have been nice. So we're in between these parentheses. One thing is, we're going to pass two parameters, and it's all going to be uppercase. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my caps lock key on.
Caps lock on.
That way so I can go ahead and do this without having to hold down the shift key. Now, we are going to tap into PDO's class, and we are going to call on a couple different things. So the first thing, we're going to say PDO colon. Now that's how we tap into the class. And then we're going to call on the attribute error mode, and then we'll have to set the error mode exception. So right here we say PDO colon and then ATTR underscore ERRMODE comma. Alright, now that's all capital, and then we press space after that comma, and then we type PDO colon, and then we say ERRMODE underscore, and you hear that it's trying to finish it for me, but I'm going to go ahead and type it out, exception. So error mode, so it's ERRMODE underscore exception. So EXCEPTION.
Line exception 1 of 1. Error mode line exception 1 of 1. Config.
Alright, so if we read our line now.
$con dash greater set attribute left paren, PDO colon ATTR line error mode comma, PDO colon error mode line exception right paren, semi.
Okay, so that line is now complete. We can press end. That gets us to the end of the line, and press enter. Now, one thing I forgot is I'm actually going to get rid of this line, and
$con equals new.
I'm going to go to the beginning of this $con equals where we set up PDO, and I'm going to press shift and then press down arrow and then press end. That's going to select those two lines we just wrote, and I'm going to press Control X, and I'm going to cut them out of there because I forgot we're going to put this in a try-catch block. So that's lowercase try space left brace, and then press enter.
12 space.
And then we're going to down arrow
8 space right brace
to our ending right brace on the 8 space line. And then we're going to press end to get to the end of that, and then press enter. And then we're going to say catch lowercase, and then left parenthesis, right parenthesis, space, left brace, press enter. Okay, so right here, if we up arrow, catch left parenthesis, right parenthesis. In between those parentheses, I'm going to press end, left brace, and then I'm going to left arrow,
space, right paren.
And then now I'm in between those parentheses. We're going to type capital P, my caps is on. Let's turn this off and fix this.
Catch left brace unselected, right left paren unselected.
We're going to fix this to be lowercase. Catch, and then the try.
Line 8 space try cap space.
Alright.
Try select TR.
Gotta make sure that doesn't happen.
8 space right brace.
Now again, this catch, let's put our parentheses back.
Space, right brace, space.
Oh, hang on 1 second.
No indent blank. 8 space right brace. No, 8 space try left brace. No, 8, catch left paren, right paren, left brace.
Okay, it's still there. So our parentheses, we're going to get back in between those.
Right paren.
And in these parentheses, we're going to type a capital P, capital D, capital
PDO
O,
1 of 12.
capital E, and then
Config.class.php
exception,
editor has
so
auto.
X,
PDO
E,
exception 1 of
or
1. PDO
sorry, let me get this
PDO
right.
PDO 1 of 12. PDO 1 of
Let me get
Cap
that
D,
off of there.
Cap D, Capo, Cap E, right paren.
All right, so capital P, capital D, capital O, and then capital E, X.
Suggest list. PDO exception
Oh,
1
you
of
see
1.
it wants to pull it up, but exception. So PDO exception, and then we press space, and now we want a variable name that we can use to spit this message out. So we're going to say $E.
$line config.class.
And then now what? We'll read that line.
Catch left paren. PDO exception $E right paren. Left brace.
So and again, that's catch left parenthesis capital P, capital D, capital O, capital E, and then lowercase exception. You know, the XCEPTION space, and then the variable $E. And then we have our right parenthesis, our space, and then our left brace. And if we down arrow,
no indent blank.
Now it says no indent because it auto corrects it, and that's another format, another extension. So we can actually press tab and then read our current line.
Blank.
And it says 12 space. We can press end
line feed
to get to the end of this. Now what we want to do is we want to type a return, well actually echo. So this is how you print something to the screen. So we'll echo space and then a string. So we'll put our quotes, and then it's going to be error connecting to database, and then colon
E.
Yep, E colon, and then we'll do quote dot. So this is us breaking out of those quotes, and then or that string, and now we're going to say $E.
$E3 of 22.
And then that's our variable for our exception, and then we say dash greater because we're going to get message, and that's lowercase get, and then we do capital M, and then lowercase ESSAGE, left parenthesis, right parenthesis, semi. Now what that's going to do is that's going to give us our message. It's just going to echo it out.
Right brace.
Now if we go back up to in between the try, which is the first thing we wrote, what this does is it's going to try this first, and then if it doesn't work, it will catch the exception that we set.
8 space right brace.
So if I paste in what we've already wrote,
$con equals new PDO left paren, quote MySQL colon, host equals $this dash greater host semi, name equals $this dash greater DB quote comma, $this dash greater username comma, $this dash greater password right paren, semi.
Okay, we hear that.
8 space $con dash greater set attribute left paren, PDO colon ATTR line air mode comma, PDO colon air mode line exception right paren, semi.
Okay, so we have this line too, but you hear it's 8 spaces. That's wrong. So we're actually going to do a Shift Alt F.
Made 8 formatting.
All right, made 8 formatting edits. So that's a formatter that is an extension for Visual Studio Code. Again, I'll have a video on that coming up.
$con dash greater set attribute left.
So let's read our new PDO line again.
Equals new PDO left paren, quote MySQL colon, host equals $this dash greater host semi, name equals $this dash greater DB quote comma, $this dash greater username comma, $this dash greater password right paren, semi.
All right, I want to make sure it's $this dash username.
PDO air mode line.
Hang on.
This dash greater username comma, great F I A T dollar spin I F U N E comma dollar T.
Okay. All right. So that's right. And then what we want to do is we want to come to our where we set our attribute and go to the end of that line and press enter. And now right here we're actually going to echo out. So echo says ECHO space and then quote connection successful. All right, and then we'll come to the end of this line and put a semicolon.
Echo quote connection successful bang. Quote semi.
Okay, so and there's our echo. Now, the way that we run this is there's two ways. So we can run it from the command line, and I'll show you that way first.
Echo quote connection no indent blank.
Now, the way that we do this, we go to the bottom of the file and make sure we're outside all of the braces, and I'm going to type $test space equals space new space and then the name of our class, which is config. So capital C O, so capital C, lowercase o, n, f, I, g, then we say left parenthesis, right parenthesis, semi. Now this will instantiate that class. Now one thing we forgot to do, because we don't want to do anything other than write this, so which is to just instantiate the class, and then we just want it to return that connection object. So if we go to our constructor,
no results found.
So I'm gonna go to the top of the page, do a Control F, and type line CON, and then press escape, and then read my line.
Four space function line construct.
All right, it's on that constructor. I'm gonna go to the bottom of this.
This dash 4 space right.
All right, there's my ending right brace, 4 spaces.
8 space
I'm gonna go up one line, press end,
line feed,
press enter twice, and then we're gonna say $this
suggest list,
dash greater,
suggest
and
list,
then our connect. So it actually pulls it up for us already.
$this dash greater connect left paren, right paren.
And I read our current line, and you hear $this dash greater connect left parenthesis right parenthesis.
Line feed.
And then we're going to go to the end and put a semicolon, and we're going to save. Now again, there's two ways we can do this.
$this dash greater.
We can run it from the command line, which we're going to do, and I'm actually going to do that right now.
Mingo 64.
So if I come over here in my command line, I'm already in this directory. We can type PHP space, and we're on the command line in the terminal. So PHP space, and then we can type our file name, which is config.class. Now I'm only going to type config.cl, and then I'm going to press tab,
as.php,
and you hear it finishes it for me, and then I'm going to press enter.
Connection successful, bang.
Okay, and we hear connection successful. So that's one way to test this. Another way is to actually go to our browser. So I'm going to go to Google Chrome. And I have to, I believe, let me get out of that. So it's localhost is what we're typing in the address bar. So localhost slash, I believe mine is my videos slash YouTube slash PHP slash, what was it, hang on one second.
/c/XAMPP config.class.php config.
So
new tab Mingo PHP PHP line PDO line address combo box collapsed. Edit deselected
actually gonna copy the address from the file manager.
Config.class.php -php line new tab -Google.
And then we'll come back over here and paste this in.
Cap C.
And then we're gonna delete
/X
the backslash XAMPP
my videos
htdocs
S cap M cap
all the way to my videos, and we're gonna type localhost slash, and then now it's my videos, and these backslashes we're going to turn to slashes. YouTube, another backslash. Alright, so now we're in the directory, so we can go to the end, type slash, and then type config.class.php.
Localhost slash connection successful, bang.
All right, and that's what we get, connection successful. So that is how you connect to a database with PHP and PDO. So in the next video, we're actually going to be able we're going to create a method to create a table. And then I'm also going to show you how to create a table with the user interface inside of PHPMyAdmin. So I hope you made it to the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed and learned something. If you are new here, I thank you for watching, and if you are a current subscriber, thank you very much for your support, and I appreciate you watching, and I'll see everyone in the next video.
PH config Mingo 6 OBS 26